Alright guys, so continuing on DivineDFP's run in qualifier number 4 for AoE All-Stars, we've got his round of 4 game, the semi-final against Mugulito, or the Grand Mugul. So both Mugulito and DivineDFP have already qualified for the main tournament, but this qualifier does go on further, just to give the guys a chance to face off, test their mettle, heading in to the main event. So I think this will be to determine seedings. So obviously first place and second place are going to look at playing against the third and the fourth place from another qualifier. I'm not sure how they're going to be paired up, but anyway, getting back to the game, we've got in hand, we've got DivineDFP spawning as the English player in the blue trunks, spawning as a red trunks. The French player, we've got Mugulito, taking his gold now, all his 7 villages on the food. So DFP, I wonder if he's going to go for a similar strategy to what he did last game. So against a Rus player fielding early knights, DFP just took a quick outpost and went for a really fast age 3 and then pushed out with a whole bunch of knights. So I think we might see something similar. But Mugulito might be able to get going a little bit faster than the Rus opponent Divine had in the last round. So we'll see how we go here. As the French player has invested in 2 scouts rather than just the 1. Well, there's only been the 1 here for DFP, I believe. So he just wants to look at getting that really fast economy going. Although he's been a little bit slower on farm production this time, I think. He's really going to have to make a single scout work against 2 scouts. Obviously, he's only going to be able to cover half the ground. When it's 2 scouts versus 3, you know, you're only talking about a 50% gap. But it also means that if you're going for less scouts than your opponent, you're going to be up in terms of your vill count. So you're going to be gathering slightly more as well. So DFP has already gone for wheelbarrow straight away. Just because the farming is going to be more efficient for the villagers. And it doesn't really set him back too much. And it also means, well, any walk time really. So even his woodline gathering is a little bit more efficient. He's not going to worry about replacing lumber cans quite as quickly. Mugulito hasn't looked at going for wheelbarrow just yet. Probably could if he's going to try and get on hunts, but he's just going to get on a berries, which is a bit odd for, well, I mean, he's not Rus, so, but even still, if you can, and you know your opponent's going to commit to farms, or commit to anything that's going to slow them down, you might as well get on the hunt over getting on the berries, just because of the gathering differential, and the fact that your gather speed increase tech is cheaper than the one for the farms. And then being French, his wheelbarrow is cheaper as well. So you can very easily go for survival techniques and wheelbarrow, fit them in, get on this hunt, I think. Particularly against someone like DFP, who's probably going to play this quite greedy to get to age 3 as quick as he can. And he's not going to give you the opportunity like a lower elo player to get some easy villager kills off the gold mine or the wood line. So if you start raiding either one of them, he's going to put a tower up. Mugulito going to have that school of cav. And yeah, good thing to remember, guys, and this is something I've really only just learned off these high level players, is that you don't necessarily have to go 3 perfectly placed farms. You should actually be going for 4 with them sitting half out on the edges because it lets you fit in an extra 2 farms in the same space. You can get 10 rather than just 8 under the 1 mil. And just by being partially in, the whole farm actually gets covered. It extends the mill's radius out to here. Just a little pro tip for newer players that are tuning in, if there are any. If this game has any newer players, or if everyone's a pro by now. We are going to see a handful of spears here to counter very early night play from the French player. He's already going to run one across, and he's going to start harassing the vills of the scout. DFP might be able to pick this guy off. He will. He might even be able to pick off the second scout, so 2 scouts there for a little bit of gathering time lost, but it's nothing huge. And on top of that, DFP doesn't really need any more gold at this stage. Hasn't gone for any more eco techs at this stage though, but he's just going to wall in part of the wood line just to make it a bit easier to park his spears in the right spot, wherever that may be. So he just about instantly rings the bell just to get that bit of damage off. He's figuring the gathering time loss is probably worth it. And this is a bit of a different style to what we saw last game from him. So up against a Rus opponent, DFP was able to go straight for a fast Age 3, not even worry about Spearman production, but this game, Mugulito's not giving him the chance. He's got the School of Cav, so he's going to have that earlier night timing as a French player over the standard Rus opening, which is to be a bit more greedy. And so DFP's woodline, well protected. It's going to be extremely hard to raid here, and Mugulito making a bit of a mistake sticking around and just taking a hit there. And in the meanwhile, on the other flank, there's already a pair of spears, and like I said, that's an early outpost, so that's also going to make it extremely difficult for Mugulito to stick around here. DFP may get this scout quite low, if not even lose it, but DFP's going to try and figure out what Mugulito's got going on. So did he manage to... You would have seen that tower go down. But DFP not taking any chances with Night Harass. He's even walled himself off from his own starting gold mine. That's how dedicated he is to protecting himself early on here. What are these vills doing? Distance gathering the stone up the front. Okay. So saving himself on the wood here at least. But he's going to have to throw down. So he must want to sit in age 2. He's going to start bowman production now. In the meantime, finishing off the walling up. But the bow addition timing really impeccable there, because they're just in time to come out in slightly bigger numbers than the archers from the French player. So Mugulito not really doing a lot wrong, but he's been read and counter defended against by DivineDFP extremely well here. And DFP mustn't be looking at gathering any stone anymore. Must have been a mistake. Maybe he just wants to go for the fast age 3 instead. We'll try, well, not fast-ish, but wants to work towards an age 3 now after having gotten what he needs to defend. And Mugulito is going to have to invest quite a bit to actually break this, which gives the English player time to get to age 3, but it also means that the French player can also look at booming and taking a longer age 2, getting a second town centre in marginally quicker than that age 3 kicks in, if not goes for an age 3 himself. Mugulito just controlling this sacred site and this relic. This does give him a good spot to creep forward, take control of that large gold vein and the small one over here as well. Meanwhile, the tower's got arrow slits, and it looks like DFP is going to try and just work towards age 3 here. So he's done everything he needed to do to defend, and now the French player is really looking at committing towards walling himself in as well. Because knowing that that age 3 is on the way, that knights are on the way from the English player as a response, you can't really get lazy with your own base as well. Because at this level it's probably too difficult just to try and rely on well-placed spearmen and well-placed crossbows to try and pick off any knight run-bys. Because your opponent's going to keep you busy elsewhere anyway. So Mugulito's managed to go for age 3 a little bit quicker than DFP here. And he's actually got gold generation here for the guild hall, which is especially nice because he can start ramming out some eco text behind this, or even get some blacksmith text behind this. And he's gonna look at getting royal knights, so they're no longer in their early phase. They're not going to be at a loss. And this is a nice pick off here for DFP, just preventing any form of tower and roaching, because it's not long before your opponent can get some siege workshops or get multiple towers with the springwood emplacement and really lock down sections of the map, keep you off all these resources which are really yours. Because bearing in mind, DFP's really only got this gold mine over here. If Mugulito can keep him off these golds out in the map, and that becomes really tough to try and get gold because you've got to head all the way up here, try and get possession of the relics, try and get possession of the sacred sites. If you're not able to take control of gold mines out in the map, and Mugulito even adding iron undermesh at this point. I don't think he's got any other armory text. Oh, he does have. Oh, he's got both the melee damage text here. And now with iron undermesh, he's also going to have ranged armor for everything. So it's going to be useful against the English bows. And now that he's age 3, there might even be some rangers added eventually. So crossbowmen, they're really going to hit hard once they hit the field. While DFP is probably going to cut longbowman production for now and switch to mainly just producing melee. He's even going to get a fairly quick monastery because he wants to try and get possession of these relics, because he knows it can be easy for Mugulito to gold starve him. If he can't maintain possession of these gold mines at the front of his base, and if Mugulito can keep an eye on that one up here, it'd be quite tough for DFP to hold on to. So Mugulito even running some knights around the back. I think he wants to try and deny this relic, but he's going to be too slow. So DFP very fast on grabbing that relic. Mugulito I don't think has gone for a monastery at all. No, not just yet. That's a really nice find because it will build up to 10 gold a minute. I mean, not 10, sorry, 100 gold a minute. I don't know why it's only showing 17. Is that bugged? Because I always thought it was just 100 gold a minute flat straight off the bat. Like, they're so powerful compared to how strong they are in the other games. This is nice for DFP. He's managed to catch Mugulito napping, and he's going to be able to reinforce himself at this gold mine, which is huge because it's 8,000 gold. The small mines are only 4,000. And meanwhile, Mugulito hasn't really ascertained any value out of this little night run by. In the meanwhile, it's sort of cost him the ability to actually contest up here, having brought that so far away from his main army, and now he's got to back off. And there's not a huge amount more to DFP's army than his, but just the fact that the knights are off, well, were off just napping, they weren't even raiding. Now they're coming in for the kill. And now this forces DFP to bring some of his own back, but he does have a superior knight count, so 5 or 6 vills falling there. And then meanwhile, DFP probably going to have to bring everything back here. Ooh, he's going to have to drop that relic off quickly now. So he does put the relic away, generating the resources. And he's brought his own knights, so his own gold gatherers are going to be safe now. And that is quite nice for him, having snatched both those relics. Well, I don't... Oh, here we go. We've got a monastery now for Mugulito, but it's a little bit slow. No relics in possession for him yet. Versus the 2 here for DivineDFP. And some very nice walling is going to mean that Mugulito is not able to make it out here. In fact, DFP can even just delete these segments if he wants. Actually, no, he's going to finish him off. Why not? They paid for themselves. So 2 outposts here. Just to make sure he's going to save enough workers. In the meantime, losing his scout to Mugulito's archer ball. And Mugulito's added a whole bunch of ARBs, so these guys going to be great high burst damage in the back line for the French army. But in the meanwhile, DFP, he really added a whole bunch of army behind this, or he's been adding some more longbows. And he's got stables. Has he really added any ranges, or got a blacksmith? So he's got 2 blacksmiths. He wants double armory production. But he's mostly just got knights at the moment. He's got plenty in the bank. Got eco-techs on the way. The DFP's actually cut Vil production at the moment for some reason. Whenever this goes off, it's so useful for him because it means he's got attack speed. So fighting underneath his outpost is always something you want to do as the English if you can, because it just gives you 25% attack speed. So everything gets basically stim for being inside a tower radius. The radius is pretty big. Someone has managed to acquire a relic. Here we go. So DFP's managed to grab a 3rd relic. This macro sort of slipped there while doing so, but here we go. 7 crossbowmen in production. Oh, he's only got the 2 rangers. But even still, crossbowman production kicking on for him. While Mugulito's got stacks of ARBs. So these guys are basically their equivalent of crossbowmen. But Mugulito... Oh, he has got the armor upgrade for the ARBs, which is pretty important as well, because without it, they're quite squishy. And 5 melee armor is pretty big. The DFP going to look at taking a fight. But he's got the line formation set up. Just very nice for him. Taking an engagement there. Mugulito is going to cut the Sacred Shrine. Sacred Sight, sorry. But three relics to 2. And that Sacred Sight's not going to last much longer for Mugulito. Well, I think DFP's in a great spot to get both of these other Sacreds. And he is going to do just that right now. So Mugulito's going to have to look at making a move here. He's going to lose the free gold generation, while DFP is going to be in the position to go up to all 3 of these. Don't think he's going to bother making another monk. He's just going to move this one across once he captures that center one. And he's going to push forward again with line formation on all these bowmen. So he's going to be able to bring them forward and pick off all the ARBs as well, who aren't in line formation. They're just in their standard ball formation, wedge formation. So DFP's really backing his opponent into the corner here. Mugulito did have a nice comp to deal with this, but all the ARBs have pretty much all fallen. Nice convert attempt, but the monk does go down. There's just too much range in the back there, so DFP able to focus down the monk. Mugulito taps out. GG, well played. That's the semi-final of the AoE All-Stars Qualifier number 4.